Hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to the ILS Symposium 2024, celebrating 60 years of ILS. What a tremendous achievement. First up, big thank you to the team at Logistics Engineering Services for the opportunity to share with you our ideas and our passions on this awesome day. My name, Shane Scriven, Managing Director of SAS AN. I'm really excited to share with you today our ideas as a subculture of defence, how we can build a truly sustainable capability for our community. This presentation will go to obviously the Australian, New Zealand contingent, and then hopefully available to the broader international audience. We're really excited and we're really proud to present this to you. So without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, fantastic. So here we are. So building a truly sustainable capability, that's our focus, SAS, asset management. This is something we're really keen on. And today, let me just give you a bit of an introduction into who we are. We're a community-focused consultancy. We believe in delivering value to the community in all the work we do, and we see ourselves as servants to the community. We do this is our mission. We do this through 4 key sectors, community-focused facing sectors, as we call them. So we operate in the healthcare sector, helping our hospitals deliver better patient outcomes through asset management. We work in transport as well, focusing on helping government organisations and transport operators get the most of their assets at the right cost point and risk appetite. We play in water as well, which is a really important one for us. Having clean, equitable water supply is obviously key to any community. And of course, defence. And for us, defence, there's so much opportunity where we can derive value for the community. If you think of simply sustainability, if you think about public perception, if you think about efficiency in resource usage, defence presents a significant value opportunity to the community. So we love doing work in defence. And we do this through blending our experience in asset management and asset management systems, nominally ISO 55001 and the other examples of better practice asset management. We do this also using our RAM engineering. We've got a long history and a lot of projects under our belts in RAM engineering. I myself came to consulting through RAM engineering, both in the defence space, in the water space, and also in transport as well. So we utilise RAM principles in our works. And of course, ILS principles, we bring them in, we merge them with asset management. There's stacks of crossover there. And we do all this to improve those asset outcomes for our clients and our communities that our clients serve. You'll see just down below here, just to connect with us, that's a little QR code that'll link you to our website. Please go and have a look. I'm really keen to see some traffic there, and hopefully there's something there that inspires you in your work. So there you go. There's the corporate introduction. Let's jump into the actual agenda for today. So again, our goal here is to build a truly sustainable capability, and we'll get into like what sustainability is in a minute. So number one agenda item, we'll start to explore what sustainability is. Then once we sort of have that sort of common ground, that common understanding, we're going to jump into, well, what are the opportunities that ILS present to us in that context of sustainability, and we'll explore them a little bit. It's not designed to be an exhaustive list. The key here, and my objective with this presentation, is you go away and you have a really good hard look at your ILS programs and say, hey, how can we do better from a sustainability standpoint? And then we'll move into, okay, so what, Shane? How do these opportunities present a positive impact to the community? And we'll explore, just I suppose the value proposition that ILS can not only present to the defence and defence capability, but also to the broader community that it ultimately serves. And we'll explore that together. And then finally, a call to action. We'll try and hold you all accountable to this presentation and send you back to your respective organisations with a fresh mindset. So that's my goal today. So let's jump in. Okay, so first and foremost, sustainability. What do we mean by that? When I talk about sustainability with our clients, I work hard to leverage the diagram here provided by the EU. This diagram here around a circular economy is really what I see as the best communication tool for when it comes to sustainability and what it means. No longer today are we talking about just simply reusing and carbon footprint, this concept and notion of a circular economy is really at the forefront today of sustainability speak. Just 2 days ago, coincidentally, the Global Forum for Asset Management and Maintenance, which is a not-for-profit member group, internationally renowned, produced the third version of their asset management landscape. And finally, we see the words recycle and reused iterated throughout that document, which is fantastic. And speaking to the review team from the Asset Management Council of Australia, about those terminologies, and it has come directly from the circular economy approach. So really proud that this is now well and truly written into asset management doctrine, and I'm really keen to share that with you today. So what do we mean about all that, and sustainability from an asset standpoint, from a defence standpoint? What are the opportunities that ILS are really presenting to us? And I like to say that ILS can drive sustainability. It doesn't necessarily produce sustainability. So we're in a really unique opportunity as ILS practitioners to really set our respective organisations up for ongoing success in sustainability and sustainability activities. So today, the point here is not to say that you can suddenly become sustainable. The point is by using ILS as the tool to deliver sustainability and better sustainability outcomes for your organisations. Now, there's a sort of nuance there in my language. I like to say we can do better sustainability rather than be sustainable, because I don't think sustainability in itself is a thing, is a concept that we can actually achieve. I think we can always do better, so we can always improve on sustainability. So I think, from moving forward, we'll use the term better sustainability, because as technology and approaches evolve, we will ultimately become better at this, and we'll move the end point, the end goal. So keep that in mind. I've got up here our Department of Defence capability life cycle. It's probably familiar to most of you. Perhaps most of you know more about it than I do, which is fair, I accept that. But obviously we deal with our assets and our capability first from a strategy and concept standpoint, moving into risk mitigation and requirement setting. This is where I love to play as a RAM engineer, obviously into acquisition and then in service and disposal. So I love this because it's incredibly simplified. You see asset lifecycle flows, consisting of 10, 20 steps. I think this is really good from defence. It's summarised it into 4. And then down here, I've taken the time to list out, I suppose, those 3 key areas of ILS, being the FLPL and SA aspects, being the functional, physical, logistics requirements and supportability assessments, and the latter representing almost the ongoing management of ILS. And so let's just explore across that circular economy in those phases, through these two lenses here, what that actually means. So when we're talking about sort of raw materials, ILS has the ability to drive sustainability, first through that strategy and concepts phase, and by the organisation making a stand and saying, hey, look, this is our strategy when it comes to our raw materials from a sustainability standpoint. So we want to use recycled materials where we can or where it's appropriate. We want to repurpose things. We want to use commercial off-the-shelf products rather than bespoke, fancy things. So where it's appropriate, and we, as an organisation, we set up a strategy on that. And then as we move through, we can start to define, where's my risk and where is it sort of appropriate to do that, and understand where a recycled or a more sustainable, probably to use a better terminology, where a more sustainable raw material might be appropriate, where is it not appropriate, right? Give and take, let's do that. And then through acquisition and making sure that our suppliers and our industry partners are actually doing the right thing and finding those good raw materials, so that whole carbon footprint, that whole circular economy is set up for success early on. And obviously in service and disposal, as we get these new material come through the supply chain, making sure that it is right and it comes back to those sort of strategic points. So we can start to put in all these sort of requirements around that. Moving then into the design of the actual bit of kit, the capability that you're doing. How can we design this thing to be sustainable? How can we drive sustainability again in that design stage? And what do we need to do? Perhaps there's some work we can do in that risk mitigation requirement setting phase of the capability lifecycle to make a more sustainable design. Perhaps there's work in the strategy. So what are we doing? What's our fuel? A simple example. What's our fuel there? Is there something that we can do from a fuel standpoint to improve the sustainability of our system? What can we do there? environmental aspects, trying to remove those, from a lubricants perspective. I've got a big background in lubrication. What can we do there? There are many, many lubricants now that are far more sustainable than previous years. What can we do through that stage? And really defining that. And again, working hard through the activities in these groups here, maintain the rage, if you like, of sustainability and driving that. And then moving into production. This is really quite often goes along unseen and it's not necessarily unmanaged, but perhaps just sort of taken for granted. So what can we do? How can we work with our industry partners who are producing the bit of kit that we're putting into service and ensuring that they're using sustainability in all their work and understanding what requirements we may set. Distribution's a big one. Distribution's massive for the Defence Force. Working through how we're going to distribute these components, both whilst it's in service and through the design stage. How can we consolidate? What aspects do we need to put these components on helicopters to get them there, or can we be a bit smarter about this? What can we do through ILS to drive sustainability in the distribution phase, and really again leveraging those subjects? So this is, where most of our assets here in the consumption, reuse and repair stage, really we're looking at the in-service disposal aspect. This is where a lot of our assets and our components spend most of their life. And this is really where pardon the pun, the war's won or lost. We can really look at how are we consuming these things? Is our maintenance strategy based upon condition and risk? Or is it based on time repair replacement? Are we replacing components and material early or unnecessarily? Are we going about things because it's easier to do and it's actually being a negative sustainability impact? Can we move to a more conditional risk-based approach in our management of our assets such that we only change or bin these components when they truly need to? And then even then, once we feel that there is a sufficient risk to pull that component out, can we repurpose it? Can we overhaul it? Can we repair it? Can we sell it off to somebody else to use rather than putting it on the scrap heap? And really defining as part of our maintenance strategies around how we try and reduce waste and repurpose things. And then collection. Collection's a big one. How can we consolidate collection, and where does it go, and who manages it? This is often an overlooked thing, and it can really be a real burden on organisations. You often see like the boneyard of scraps and what that looks like, and how can we put a program in to manage these things that we want to reuse, repair. What can we do there? And setting some requirements around that, or just strategies and approaches. And then last, waste management. So how can we actually get that component back into the circular economy or the asset life cycle? How much of it is good? How much isn't? What's our residual risk by reusing these things, and having a good understanding of that and defining that in work method statements and so on. And then obviously we are always going to have an impact in the residual waste. That I really think a trick that a lot of organisations miss is measuring this and monitoring this and seeing, well, can we actually improve that? I feel organisations often just take that for granted and, okay, let's put that in the bin, and then off we go. But how does our residual waste compare month to month? And is that actually going north or south or staying stable? And where do we feel it should be now and into the future? So there's just some really simple opportunities for ILS, and how ILS can really drive sustainability through the capability life cycle. So I hope you got a bit out of that. So moving through, let's discuss now. Okay, it's like, well, so what, Shane? So we did all that great work. We've been doing a good job at living the circular economy through our ILS programs, and embodying that as part of our culture. But so what? What's the benefit there? So let's explore some of them, and let's just explore them from selfishly from a community standpoint. What does it mean to the community? First and foremost, we're obviously going to get efficiencies, right, and cost savings. And I want you to think about the term resource here rather than just efficiency on its own. A resource can mean so many different things based on your context and your lens. And so what is a resource? Is it labor hours? Is it energy? Is it cost? Is it effort? Is it just like stress? Whatever it is. So we can get so many efficiencies by using sustainability and the circular economy approach in our ILS. Our material efficiency obviously goes through the roof if we're able to reuse these things and not have to purchase from the marketplace over and over again. So we can obviously do that and reduce that sort of total cost from a purely financial standpoint and reduce that. But we can also promote economic sustainability as well by improving our reuse. We actually can produce a new marketplace for our industry partners to help us reuse and recycle and repurpose. And you may reuse and recycle within your domain, but you also may be able to partner with private sector partners to come up with a better solution, and you may be able to kick off some of those reused parts somewhere else, and it still gets reused and recycled. So that's a good thing as well. So there's so many resource efficiency and cost savings that we can get through adopting this. Also, we obviously extend the asset lifespan. I'll come back to my sort of words before around maintenance strategy and opting for a more risk-based, condition-based approach rather than just utilising the time and material replacement. So we can obviously extend the asset lifespan. And what I mean by that is if we have that typical PM at 6 months, we change X, Y, Z, or whatever it is, that component may be in perfectly good nick, or it may be only 95% of perfectly good nick, whatever it is. But we change it unnecessarily. So let's look at that. Let's look at what is its function, right? Go right back to reliability-centered maintenance, something I love, and utilising RCM3, right? More risk-based approach. Leveraging, again, this is leveraging asset management, RAM engineering, and ILS all in the one bucket. How can we go about and make a maintenance strategy that actually first and foremost defines risk, and then actively, and that's the key word, actively manages it through the asset life cycle. If we can do that and we can prolong the asset life cycle, the lifespan of our assets, we can obviously reduce waste. That's a no-brainer. So we can do all that just by applying the circular economy approach. And then the third one, something that it's a little bit left field, a little bit abstract, but something that I'm really keen on, is we can establish ourselves within our broader communities as a steward, as an environmental steward, by walking the walk of the circular economy and sustainability in defence. We can start to set new standards and being the beacon for other industries to adopt. And I think that's a really powerful thing. I think it's an opportunity for defence to leverage and to be leaders in sustainability. So moving forward, the next opportunity we have, we can really look at innovation. And like I said earlier, we can use this as an opportunity to partner with industry, to work out what are the innovative ways that we can design things to be more sustainable. And yeah, as I said earlier, like sustainability, that attainment of sustainability is a fallacy, right? We're always going to get better. So we can improve sustainability. We can do better sustainability. And just having that sort of drive and innovation with our industry partners to integrate sustainability within the design of these platforms, of these capabilities, and we can really enhance adaptability and efficiency through this. And it's something that, I caution you all to really look and actively talk with your industry partners about how we can make these things more sustainable. The next one here I think is a really powerful one, and I've sort of mentioned it a couple of times. It's by engaging with our industry partners, we can actually drive economic growth and job creation. If we suddenly spin off a new requirement in defence to repurpose and reuse material, whether it's within defence or it's spinning out of defence into the private sector, I think there's an opportunity for its own industry there to really grab that and help defence with that and engaging with the private sector. And you're obviously going to boost local economies and create jobs just through those additional refurbishment and recycle, repurposing activities. I think that's a really strong one. Obviously, with the reduce, reuse, repurpose philosophy, we're going to reduce our dependency on raw materials. We're going to become a more self-sufficient capability. I think that's really, really important. We have recently there's been a stack of trouble and hassle with supply chains, both locally and globally, and the supply of raw materials has really been perhaps not so much compromised, but its risk has been put certainly at the front of many of our leaders. And so if we're able to reduce our reliance on new raw materials, so as you can see in the diagram there, is new materials coming into that circular economy, by reducing our requirement on that, we actually put ourselves in a far less riskier standpoint. If we can use commercial off-the-shelf goods, we can start to really reduce our reliance on these bespoke components, and again couple that with reusing and repurposing components. We can reduce our dependency and therefore reduce our vulnerability on that raw material supply chain as well, which I think is a really powerful one. And lastly, the last sort of impact or positive impact, the benefit that I see that having a more sustainable focused ILS program is obviously the societal benefits. We're obviously going to get the knock-on effects of lowering greenhouse gas emissions and waste, and the amount of greenhouse gas, I suppose, over the life cycle of an asset is often well known. But what I find is organisations don't necessarily understand the subsequent emissions and I suppose environmental toll of the waste management aspect. They often just sort of stop counting when the component or the platform or the asset leaves the door, but that asset is still impacting our environment perhaps until forever. We can debate that one, but certainly we can really contribute to a far more positive outcome by reducing waste. So moving on into our next sort of agenda, this is the call to action here. So I'm really passionate about this, and I feel that more traditional ILS does a good job implicitly on this, but I think we can, as an industry, as that subculture that I said earlier, we can make a real dent in improving sustainability for everyone. I think just if you're taking some of those aspects discussed earlier and really reflecting and championing those within your organisation, I think we're in a real position to make good, solid and incremental change towards better sustainability for defence. I'm really keen to keep talking with you all on this. I've recently learned how to use QR codes, and I'm really keen on keeping this discussion going. So that brings an end to our sustainability-focused ILS presentation. As I said, I'm really keen to keep the dialogue going, but again, I really have to thank the team at Logistic Engineering Services for the opportunity, and I hope you all have gotten some value out of our ideas. As I said, it's not an exhausting list; it's really just a call to action for all you ILS practitioners out there to consider sustainability moving forward. So I wish you a great rest of symposium, and I look forward to the future where our paths may cross. All the very best.